It begins with memory. A day at the beach, sun warming the skin, waves crashing gently, sand between toes, laughter drifting on the wind. A perfect day, or so it seems. But one moment sticks. A sudden thunderstorm, a lost wallet, a tiny argument, the most intense, the most emotional, the ending. These are the moments that survive in memory. The rest fades like footprints in the sand. This is the peak end rule. Humans rarely judge an experience by its total duration. Instead, the brain latches on to peaks, moments of highest intensity, and the final moments. A 2-hour dinner might be flawless, yet a bitter last bite can overshadow everything. A film can be brilliant, but a weak ending turns it forgettable. The mind doesn't average, it tells a story. And the story is what guides decisions, shapes emotions, and lingers long after the moment has passed. Researchers Daniel Kahneman and Barbara Fredrickson illustrated this beautifully. In experiments, participants immersed their hands in icy water. One group had the pain end abruptly. Another group endured a slightly longer discomfort that faded gently. Oddly, the second group remembered the experience as less painful, even though it lasted longer. The ending, not the total, shaped memory. The mind is selective. It is cunning. It does not calculate. It narrates. Imagine a hotel stay. Guests may enjoy impeccable service, the stunning view, the quiet luxury of a well-designed room. But one rude staff member at checkout, one long wait at the reception, and the memory shifts. Reviews plummet. Stories are told. Attention remembers the climax and the ending, not the hours of comfort that preceded it. Businesses, teachers, even storytellers can harness this invisible law. Consider a restaurant. Patrons savor a multi-course meal. Each bite delights. Yet it is the dessert, plated with artistry, unexpected flavors, and a touch of surprise that shapes the story. Guests leave talking about that last taste, the emotional high of flavor, the small peak that becomes the narrative. The chef knows memory is selective. Peaks and endings carry weight far beyond ordinary moments. Even in personal life, the rule holds sway. Arguments remembered for the fiercest words, birthdays recalled for a surprise gift or the final toast, job experiences filtered through the hardest challenge or the last day before leaving. Humans do not average experiences, they narrate them, and understanding this gives subtle power over perception. Think of a classroom. Students endure long, challenging lessons, repetition, monotony, yet one inspiring lecture, one story told with fire and clarity can redefine the memory of the semester. Years of teaching may be forgotten. One peak moment, one powerful ending is what survives. Memory is not linear. Memory is selective. Memory is a storyteller. Even marketing leverages this. Theme parks orchestrate thrills not just for the ride, but for the climax, the fireworks, the parade, the final laugh. Apps design onboarding so the last step feels rewarding, completing the journey with satisfaction. Customers remember the crescendo, the final moment. Ordinary steps fade, peaks persist. Here's the subtle twist. This can be applied ethically in life. Meetings, presentations, conversations, even mundane chores shape the peak and craft the ending. In leadership, finish discussions with clarity, encouragement, and inspiration. In relationships, let the last words be meaningful, the final gesture memorable. Influence does not come from the duration, but from the peaks and the ends. Picture an experiment. Hospital patients rated pain from procedures. One group experienced abrupt endings, another had longer, gentler conclusions. The longer, milder ending was remembered as less painful. Duration didn't matter. Memory is not arithmetic. It's emotion, narrative, and conclusion. The hidden power emerges when this principle is recognized Experiences, events, even fleeting moments can be engineered for memory. A birthday party ends with laughter rather than exhaustion. A project finishes with achievement rather than chaos. A story closes with resonance rather than flatness. The peaks and endings shape perception. Now consider life itself. Reflect on the last week. Which moments linger? Likely it isn't the ordinary hours, the neutral moments. It's the emotional peaks, the climaxes, the final notes. That is where memory lives. That is where decisions, future expectations, and stories are born. Here's a subtle challenge. Identify one experience this week, a meeting, conversation, presentation, or personal interaction. Ask yourself, where is the peak? How can the ending leave the strongest positive impression? Make it real, tangible, and memorable. Observe how perception shifts. Notice how attention and emotion are guided by these invisible forces. Because here is the truth. Life is not remembered moment by moment. It is remembered story by story. Peaks, climaxes, and final beats define the narrative. Ordinary moments fade. Intentional peaks and endings create lasting memories, influence decisions, and shape the stories told for years. And one last whisper. Observe this everywhere. In others, in media, in your own experiences. Watch which moments linger, which endings shape the memory, which peaks dominate the story. The peak-end rule is subtle, invisible, yet profoundly powerful. Once it is seen, once it is understood, ordinary experiences transform into extraordinary memories.